We admire the cathedral, its spires, its grandeur, its impossible height. But we never see the single brick, or the calloused hands that laid it, or the quiet decision, made in the dark of morning, to pick up the trowel one more time. We have been sold a lie about discipline. We believe it's about force, gritted teeth, white knuckles, a war we wage against our weaker selves. But what if that war is unnecessary? What if that visible struggle is just a symptom of missing something deeper? What if true discipline, the kind that builds cathedrals, that changes lives, is accessed not by force, but with keys? Unseen keys. Keys that don't look impressive, keys that feel, in the moment, too simple to matter. Welcome to Part 1, The Unseen Keys of Discipline. Today, we lay the foundation. The first key, the architect's key. Environment design. Imagine your willpower is not a boundless well. It is a precious, limited resource, a small cup of water. Now imagine every distraction, every temptation, is a hole in that cup, a text notification, a cluttered desk, the junk food in easy reach. You pour your focus in, and it leaks out before it ever reaches the task that matters. The unseen key is to stop patching holes, it's to get a new cup. This is the key of environment design. Discipline is not about summoning superhuman focus in a chaotic world. It is the unglamorous, unseen work of designing a world where focus is the default. It is charging your phone in another room. It is having your workout clothes laid out the night before. It is the 5 minutes you spend prepping healthy food so it's easier to grab than the alternative. You are not just a mind making choices. You are a creature responding to your environment. Design an environment of good choices, and you won't need to constantly choose. You simply follow the path you've already built. The architect's key says, stop fighting battles you can design away from. The second key, the stonecutter's key, the minimum viable action. Here is the great failure of ambition. We stare at the mountain peak, and the distance paralyzes us. We never take the first step. We vow to get in shape, and the sheer scale of it exhausts us. We never put on our shoes. The unseen key is the absurdly small promise, the minimum viable action. On your most tired, unmotivated, defeated day, what is the one, tiny, non-negotiable thing you can still do? The commitment is not to run 5 miles, it is to put on your running shoes and step outside. That's it. The commitment is not to write a book, it is to open the document and write one true sentence. This seems trivial. That's its power. It's so small that resistance, that inner critic, can't find a foothold. There's no drama. But in that tiny, unseen action, you perform magic. You maintain your identity. I am a runner. You prove, by lacing up. I am a writer. You prove, by facing the page. You keep the chain unbroken. And more often than not, you create momentum. One step leads to a walk. One sentence leads to a paragraph. The stonecutter's key whispers, don't build the cathedral, just lay today's brick. The third key, the navigator's key, emotional awareness. We treat discipline as a cold, cognitive act, a decision of the mind. I will do this. But we ignore the ocean we're sailing on, our emotions. You don't decide to binge-watch TV when you're drained. You are pulled by an emotional riptide of seeking comfort. You don't choose to snap in anger when you're stressed. You are capsized by a wave of feeling. The unseen key is emotional navigation. It is not about suppressing the storm, but learning to read the weather. This is the internal discipline no one witnesses. It's the pause between stimulus and response. The breath. The quiet question, what is this feeling beneath the urge? What does it truly need? Often, the need isn't for sugar, but for rest, not for distraction, but for a moment of real connection. Using this key means treating your emotional state as the foundational ground. You cannot build a palace on quicksand. A disciplined action fueled by self-loathing is fragile. It will collapse. The navigator's key requires, steer the ship, don't fight the sea. So, we have our first 3 keys. The architect, who designs the space. The stonecutter, who masters the tiny action. The navigator, who reads the inner weather. These are the foundation, the unseen work that happens before the world sees any result. They move the lever of discipline from an exhausting feat of will to a graceful act of alignment. In Part 2, we will move from the foundation to the structure, to the systems that automate your progress, and to the most powerful, counterintuitive key of all, the one that ensures you never lose your way, even when you fail. Until then, practice being the architect of your space, the stonecutter of your day, and the navigator of your heart. These are the first unseen keys of discipline. Welcome back to the Unseen Keys of Discipline. In Part 1, we laid the foundation. We learned to design our environment, to start impossibly small, and to navigate our inner world. These are the hidden gears that make the initial movement possible. But a foundation is not a home. Gears need a chassis. Today, in Part 2, we build the structure that turns occasional effort into lasting transformation, and we discover the master key, the one that unlocks resilience itself. This is where discipline becomes not just an act, but an identity. The fourth key, the engineer's key, invisible systems. We applaud the dramatic triumph, the finished marathon, the launched business, the final draft. We never see the scaffold that made it possible. This is the key of invisible systems, your personal operating system. Your calendar is a system, your weekly planning session is a system, your pre-sleep ritual is a system, your checklist for starting your workday is a system. These are not constraints. They are the ultimate liberators. Every single decision you make in a day, what should I work on? When will I exercise? What's for lunch? Drains a tiny bit of your precious mental fuel, your willpower. A system turns 100 small decisions into one decision. I trust my system. The disciplined person isn't constantly making heroic choices. In a moment of clarity, they designed a pathway of good choices. Their daily discipline is simply the humility to follow the path their wiser self laid out. The unseen work happens on Sunday evening with a calendar. It happens in the Notes app as you capture a stray thought. It's the mundane glance at your to-do list each morning. This is the unsexy machinery. No one is inspired by a perfectly organized task manager, but this machinery hums in the background, turning chaos into order, turning effort into automatic progress. The engineer's key states, automate the routine, so your energy is reserved for the remarkable. The fifth and master key, the gardener's key, self-compassion. And now, the most counterintuitive key, the one that may change everything. We have been taught that discipline requires a harsh inner critic, a drill sergeant in our mind that shouts, no pain, no gain, and you're lazy, when we slip up. But that voice is a tyrant. It makes the work a punishment, and you cannot sustain a rebellion against yourself. The true master key is the opposite. It is the key of self-compassion, the voice of a wise gardener, not a brutal soldier. This is the most unseen work of all, what you say to yourself when you fail. Because you will. The missed workout, the lost temper, the day you chose distraction over depth. The inner drill sergeant uses this as proof. See, you're weak, you'll never change. This shatters the chain. Getting back on track feels like admitting defeat to a cruel judge. The inner gardener sees the same failure and says something radical. That happened. You were tired. You were human. It's okay. The soil is still here. What's the next tiny, caring step we can take? This is not permission to quit. This is the strategic wisdom of a long-term grower. A broken stem, gently splinted and supported, grows back stronger. One torn out by the roots is gone forever. Self-compassion is the unseen nutrient in the soil of discipline. It prevents the roots of your new habits from freezing in the winter of your own self-judgment. The gardener's key reveals, discipline rooted in self-respect grows. Discipline rooted in self-contempt withers. Bringing the keys together. So let's look at the complete set. The architect, environment. You design a world that makes good choices easy. The stonecutter, small actions you commit to start so small you can't refuse them. The navigator, emotions you learn to sail your inner seas, not fight them. The engineer, systems you build, silent machinery that turns intention into automatic action. The gardener, compassion you tend to your own growth with kindness, especially when you fall. See the pattern? Not one of these keys is about brute force, not one is about shame or struggle. They are about clarity, preparation, gentleness, intelligence. They move discipline from a battle you wage to a home you build. The cathedral of your aspirations was never built by a single day of furious labor. It was built by the unseen, daily practice of the bricklayer who showed up, the architect who planned, and the gardener who tended the grounds through all seasons. Your discipline is the same. Stop trying to be more forceful. Start being more insightful, more prepared, more compassionate. Turn these unseen keys. The door they open is not to a life of grim rigidity, but to a life of profound and lasting freedom. Finally, in the world of e-commerce, there's a platform that connects you directly to a universe of suppliers, trends, and unbeatable value. AliExpress. But on a marketplace with millions of products, how do you make yours stand out? How do you turn browsers into buyers? It starts with a truth: you're not just selling a product, you're selling trust. Your marketing on AliExpress isn't about shouting the loudest, it's about being the clearest, most reliable answer to your customer's search. First, master the foundation. Your product page is your 24/7 salesman. Invest in high-definition images, multiple angles, in-context shots, video demonstrations. Let customers see what they're getting. Craft a title packed with relevant keywords, but readable for a human. Wireless earbuds, 60H playtime Bluetooth 5, 3-inch, not just good earphones. Write descriptions that sell the benefit, not just the feature. Don't say 3000 mAh battery. Say all-day power that keeps up with you. Second, leverage the tools of trust. Reviews are your #1 marketing asset. Encourage them. Respond to them. A 4.8-star rating with detailed photos sells faster than any ad. Use store coupons and flash sales. They create urgency and give customers a reason to click buy now instead of saving for later. Consider AliExpress affiliate marketing. Let content creators and niche experts introduce your product to their loyal audiences. Third, go beyond the platform. Drive your own traffic. Use short-form video on TikTok or Reels to showcase your product in action. Create simple tutorials. Run targeted traffic campaigns to your best-performing listings. Remember, on AliExpress, success isn't about finding the cheapest product. It's about building the most trustworthy store. It's clarity over clutter, social proof over empty promises, a seamless experience from click to delivery. Build that, market that, and watch your store become the destination. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.